Hi guys, Chris here with Leona Timber Company. What we're going to do is start a multi-video series on how I go about painting and weathering for a garden railroad. Now I say how I do it because there are so many different ways to do it, and despite what anybody tells you, there's really no wrong way to do it. You can have a building that's really heavily weathered and has been out in elements for quite a while, or you can have a building that's freshly painted and has just a little bit of weathering. Use paint, you can use chalk, you can use just about anything you want to get the result you need, okay? So when you hear somebody say that's the wrong way to do it, that's really not true. So what I'm going to do is show you how I do it, and then we'll go from there. Let's start out. I want to start by saying that I'm not a professional video guy. If you see me looking down, I'm actually looking at my phone, which I have the camera hooked to, so I can see, make sure I have everything in the screen, okay? Alright, so what we're going to do, our subject is going to be this house, which is a cedar house that was constructed by Michael Niebaum, trainbuildings.com, and these are really good houses. They're a solid piece, and he cuts the siding into them, okay? So they're solid. It's a good house. And then you get included with the kits, if I can get it open, windows and doors, which are Grant Line products. And he has pre-cut all the holes in these, and they are precise. Window goes right in, it's beautiful stuff. And these are plastic. So this is a good example. This is going to give us wood and plastic to practice on and stuff. So shout out to Michael, because if you get the opportunity, last time I checked his website was down for maintenance, but get the opportunity, pick one of his structures up, because they're good buildings. Okay? So the first thing before we just jump in and throw paint on this thing and start weathering it, is you have to decide a few things. The first question you always have to determine is, where is your railroad? Okay? And it's not where are you at, it's where is your railroad based out of. Like, I'm in Kansas, but since I want to do a logging railroad, I will be up in the mountains. So I'm not going to weather this like it's sitting in Kansas, okay? But what I'll try and do is explain to you how I would do this based on where I'm going to put this structure. Okay? So when you weather a structure, where it's at is the first part. Second part is, which way is the building facing? Okay? In the northern hemisphere, the sun is on the south. Okay? And in the summer, the intense sun really gets on the south. So in the railroad, if this door is facing east, this is the south side of the building. Okay? So this side will get more sunlight than this side, which means the paint on this side will fade, the roof will fade, everything will fade more than it will on the other side of the building. Okay? The same goes, this porch will not be as faded because it's protected by this roof. The back side of the building, which will face the west, and it would be hard to replicate. It would actually be faded harder this side than to this side because the sun's coming in at the corner. Okay? Also, where you were at has to do with your winds, okay? Strong wind on the south side, like you have in most states in Kansas during the summer months, is going to pick up dirt, it's going to pick up sand, it's going to pick up debris, okay? And that's all an abrasive that's going to wear on this side of the building more than on this side, okay? At the same time, this side that doesn't give much sun is wet, the wet side of the building, okay? So this is where you're going to have moss and stuff like that growing along the bottom of your building if it's in contact with the ground. Alright? The next thing you need to think of is the building's surroundings, okay? Is the building covered by trees? Is it in a bunch of trees? Because that's going to block the sunlight and your building's not going to be faded as much, but at the same time you're going to have stuff from the trees coming down on the roof and making a mess. Alright? So that's something you need to think of. Where is it at? And all of this stuff is just stuff to make your weathering job look more realistic and fit in the spot where you want it to go. Okay? So, and then the last thing you need to think of is the time period. Okay? A modern building, the paint is a lot better paint. It wears longer. It's not going to look as bad. An older building, say in the late 20s to early 30s, like my setting's going to be, this paint's going to be very thin. Okay? And it's not going to take very long for it to settle. It also really isn't, it'll cover fairly decent, but it's not as good as what it used to be. Okay? Or what it currently is, excuse me. So those are the things you've got to think of. Now, when I put this building on my railroad, this door is going to face the east side, okay? There's going to be some trees around it, but not that many. So what I'm going to do is paint this building up as the sun is fading this side slightly. The wind has done a little bit of erosion on this side and the roof slightly, and then the trees have dropped their nonsense all over the roof and this porch and stuff, okay? But when I say I'm going to do it slightly, the whole building is going to be weathered extensively. All right, my railroad's older, the paint's not as good, and you don't get up and paint every 5 years. All right, so my paint's going to be weathered extensively, and then this side's going to be slightly worse, the roof, and this is going to be slightly worse. Okay, so some other things you need to think of, in a good place to come up with ideas and check wear patterns and stuff is look at the internet of old pictures, go out and find old buildings and see how they're worn. Okay? The paint is going to wear from the bottom up. As you under this overhang, it's protected a little more, so the paint up here might not be as worn as much. Same with back here on the gables of the house. This up in here is not going to be worn as much. Okay? Lap siding, if you ever look at paint on lap siding, it actually is worn more towards the bottom than it is up where the joint is, because that joint creates a little bit of a protected area. And again, up under here is not going to receive all the elements, but this porch is going to see a bunch of foot traffic, so it's going to be heavily worn. Okay? So that's my plan for this building. Okay? Set this aside, and we'll go through some of the things you're going to need to do this. Okay? First thing you're going to need to do is paint it. Now, I use spray paint. And the reason I use spray paint is because it goes on in a thinner layer, and it's easier for me to take back off. Okay? You can use craft paint, you can use real house paint, you can use anything you want, really, to cover this. You don't even have to use paint. You could, if you wanted to have a building that is just natural wood, you can use a stain and just wash over it and stuff, and we'll get to what a wash is. I'm not going to use the primer on this, okay, because in the age this house was, the paint wouldn't be that heavy and primer wouldn't be used at all. I am going to use this Krylon flat white. This is ultra flat white, and this is actually primer, okay, but it's white and it's ultra flat, and this is actually a better flat color for an older building than regular flat paint, I think. And then we're going to clear it when we're all done to seal our hard work in. Okay? So that's what I intend to use to paint the house. Alright. Then some of the other things you're going to need is paint and media for weathering. Okay? And I just use this paint here from Walmart because it's 50 cents a bottle. For one, and it's a big bottle, and you'll weather for a long time on this stuff, okay? And it's really easy to use, okay? It's acrylic. You can do it in the house. Do not do this on the wife's dining room table, okay? This makes a mess, and you will not be around to see the end of the results. But I use, there's black, okay? This is English Ivy Green. Different shades of brown. Brown oxide. Okay, I know there's kind of a South Cream, or Satin Cream it's called. Okay, yellow, white. This is black again. Another shade of green, a lighter green. Okay, and just, you know, you're not going to go crazy. You can't have too many of these because you'll actually use them. This is a light mocha, it's called. Barn red, which is a good trim color for a lot of my stuff. Gray, you'll use a lot of gray. Okay. This is silver, which you use for metal parts like your doorknobs and stuff where they're worn. You use a little bit of that. Another nutmeg brown. Blue, which is not used very much, but you can work it in every once in a while as a highlight color. Hunter green, which I'm almost out of. And this is copper, which on a lot of the older houses, a lot of the pictures and stuff are copper. Okay. Also, you can use, I don't use this as much, but I will use it. This is powder. Okay. Now this is a big set I've had for like 15 years. It's got several different colors and stuff in it, and we'll use that in this demo. Kind of show you how all that works. Okay, you're going to need some paint brushes. Alright, and we all have our standard modeling paint brushes, but get some cheap ones. Okay, these are Walmart. They come in the big package in the art section and stuff, and they're not very expensive. Because you don't really want to use your fine brushes for this, okay? Because you're going to be doing, especially when you're dry brushing, you're going to be pounding, you're going to tear this brush into one, really. Okay? Get a big brush like this that's not used for paint. Okay, this is for cleaning, and it's also used for this. These brushes are disposable brushes. I think these two brushes don't cost $1 together. Okay, and we're going to use them for washes and stuff, and because it's a big area and I can do it fairly fast. Okay, get you a couple containers like this that you can, cheap ones that you can put water in and mix diluted colors for water. Okay, definitely get yourself some water, you're going to need it. And I use a paper plate, but you can use napkins. Well, napkins don't work so well. I use this is actually a styrofoam plate. Styrofoam plate, paper plate, cardboard, newspaper, anything that you can squirt paint on, and for your dry brushes. Okay, and I like these because it contains my paint. All right, couple wire brushes will come in very, very handy. Okay. Also, I didn't get it out, but get some sandpaper of different grits. Get some really coarse sandpaper, and get some really fine sandpaper, and actually get sanding sponge like this. This is a 3M sanding sponge. This one is 80 grit, and that works really well because you've got something to hold on to, especially when you're working in these joints. Okay. So what we'll do is I'm going to paint this up and stuff, and we'll come back and let it dry, and we'll come back and we'll start showing how it's done. Okay? See you soon.